back on for YouTube stream, and I'm not going to. Like, should I stream some of this professor? I'm sure PBS is free. Let me look at PBS actually. There was something on here that I wanted to watch. Like you open a book and then you literally live through their whole life, everything, but you still retain your memory. Then I'll experience their life differently. Like I would still be myself. I was just talking to my wife about this because we're watching Severance, and I think in Severance they're trying to separate your work self from your personal self, but they can't separate your true essence of who you are. So Helly R's character, on the outside, she's top of Egan. She's the daughter of an Egan. She is for Lumen, but when she gets inside, she is severed. She gets inside. They can't remove that piece of her that knows and understands that the work she's doing is a form of slavery. They're imprisoned and they're doing something that she feels is malicious. So she like has some idea about like what she's doing is wrong, and she has this like there needs to be some form of justice here, and there is none because we're almost like inhuman. So she's like, fuck that. That's why she goes through such extremes, like trying to kill herself, harm herself, just so her Audi can understand the message. Like that's true to who she is. I don't think things like that can be removed from a person, even if you enter somebody else's life. Okay, let me see. I'm back up on YouTube. The YouTube stream is down. It is down. And now it's on Super Mario Galaxy. Okay, it's back up. I just have to change the title. See, okay. The YouTube, no. If you're watching this on YouTube, I only made the format for your phone. Like, hopefully, I don't get any strikes for watching things. When I was streaming, did a copyright match. Your stream was interrupted. So after the stream is okay. It said after the copyright material was finished, I would have put the stream back up, but I just relaunched it myself. Let's see, is PBS copyright material? When I was streaming the whatchamacallit on the last stream, the Beethoven, I totally got hoed, and they're like, "Yeah, this is copyrighted material." And you're like, "How? How is this copyrighted? No." I'll try to make some art while you're making the art, I guess. What do you think? It's like, hold on. Then you literally live your life, but you still retain memory. Apparently, Beethoven got copywritten. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. It didn't get like copyright. It got like you're using copywritten material. I'm not sure if somebody else owns Beethoven or not, like some sort of studio. You know, and they're like, this is ours. How dare you? Render like this. Like, do you see these abs? Do you see these abs? That's what that is. How AI poisons creativity. See that? Look at that. How does AI poison creativity? Tell me, Eris, how does AI poison creativity? Let me see. I'll see if I can watch PBS. Can I watch PBS on my YouTube? And AI's can give me an answer. Yes, you can watch local PBS stations. Cool. I better not do shit to me then. You are watching copywritten material. National Geographic was better though. Diving pigs. The impact of Doru? Massacre a myth? Was the Boston Massacre actually a massacre? Well, no, I don't really care about that. Native knowledge. The Last Twins. Rescuing baby wombats. Life and death. Belief in possibility. Okay. They don't own Beethoven, but the songs we listen are those who are composed by the latest pianist. Oh, okay. I listened to someone else's version of the Beethoven songs. You know what was crazy? That the video of Case Closed or Detective Conan that I had on my channel while we were going over Beethoven and everything, that got copywritten. They're like, you can't show Case Closed or Detective Conan. How dare you? How dare you? That's what they said to me in an email. They said, how dare you? And I was like, what? What do you mean, how dare I? I wonder if I can listen to the Diary of a CEO. The Japanese secret to being calmer and happier. Okay, this is news, so I doubt that.
We are here in Magome to talk about the concept of Ichigo Ichie,
Ichigo
which
Ichie.
means once in a lifetime or one time, one meeting.
One time, one meeting.
This is a perfect place to talk about this important Japanese concept because most people only stayed here for one night. Check out this view.
Let's see what we get from this. We're about to get a life lesson, you understand?
Magome is the 43rd post town along the Nakasendo Trail. These post towns are where people stayed for the night before going on their way, either to Kyoto or to Old Edo, now known as Tokyo. Many people traveling through these post towns would only stay for one night, making it a place of fleeting encounters as well as memories. We are now inside of Tawaraya, our home for the night. And as you can see, it is a traditional Japanese style home. Let's check upstairs.
I wonder what...
Look at the way the natural light hits the room. You don't need a lot of lighting.
Shoot,
Now,
natural
over here,
light's
we have
key.
the closet in the fusuma.
You got natural light in your place? Are you sitting in the dark? How dare you? It's diabolical.
And it has all the bedding. This room here can turn right into a bedroom. This is a hinoki bathtub. You don't use the soap inside. A bath is truly just a place to relax. And here you have the beautiful view of the Kiso Valley and the mountains.
That would be an amazing view in a bathroom.
Behind me, we have the Odaki and Meraki waterfalls. They translate to male and female waterfalls. For the Buddhist religion, it is a place of endurance and focus with the practice of takigyo, which is to sit under a waterfall and endure the falling water.
Takigyo.
You see that along the Nakasendo Trail, every single place that you stop along the way is a unique experience. We're here to make the regional gohei mochi. Gohei mochi is made out of rice and it is turned into a pounded cake with miso glaze on top. Let's check it out.
A miso glaze.
So as you can see, we are making each ball by hand. That makes it very different and unique for each single one that we make. And there's a lot of love and intention that is put into these.
ここでの作業これで終わりです。あとは焼いてタレを塗って、もう一回ちょっと炙って出来上がりになりますので。
So now we are putting the gohei mochi onto the grill. When the surface starts to get hard, that's when you know that they are being cooked well.
Yeah, I got natural light, but I sit in the dark like that, man.
Just knowing
Stop
that
it.
this bite and this taste cannot be made anywhere else, it makes it a special Ichigo Ichie moment.
Turn your lights on right now. Well, I guess it's nighttime,
Konnichiwa.
isn't it, right now?
今日の抹茶体験の方ですね。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
はい、よろしくお願いいたします。
It's like 8
ではこ
o'clock.
ちらの方どうぞ。
You shouldn't sit in the dark, though.
The phrase
If you
Ichigo Ichie
you sit in the
came
dark
to
and
be
look at
well
the screen, you'll
known
hurt your
through
eyes.
the art of Japanese tea ceremony. During a Japanese tea ceremony, everything from the utensils to the flowers are chosen with intention for that certain gathering. The reason why we turn the tea bowl before taking a sip is to show appreciation for the person who made us the tea.
Oh,
It
that's
is
nice.
very important to make a slurping sound for your very last sip.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Ichigo Ichie is not just a philosophy, it is emotional discipline. It is about being present and to value what is around us. Right now is the perfect time to really hear all the different noises on the Nakasendo Trail. This moment can only be experienced right here in time. Truly, once in a lifetime Ichigo Ichie.
It's true. You can only experience this once, right here, right now. Nowhere else but here in Japan. Okay, I think last time I was able to watch some Simpsons, but there were the parts of it that I wasn't able to watch. Let's see. Let's watch the gaming historian. He's a fellow YouTuber.
Was a masterpiece. Was
I wonder if the Mario music though, and on here it's gonna be all like, yeah, no, you can't, turn it off.
in 2015, Retro Gamer magazine asked readers to list their top 10 video games for the magazine's 150 Greatest Games of All Time feature. Coming in at number 1 on almost 20% of all ballots was Super Mario World. It was a landslide victory, and for good reason. Super Mario World not only showed off the new bells and whistles of the Super Nintendo, it redefined what Super Mario games could be. The goal was no longer to get the high score and defeat Bowser. It was to explore an entirely new world, finding hidden paths and secret levels.
Mario 3, I played it so much.
New power-ups,
I might play it on stream a little later today too.
But above all,
maybe not Mario, maybe I'll play
more freedom than ever before.
Some other classic games, but I kind of want to play some classic games.
Apex of 2D platforming.
No, I brought my
But
Switch
it was
in
a
here.
masterpiece made under challenging circumstances. For the first time, new competition threatened Nintendo's position in the video game market. The Super Mario World development team had to learn new hardware the 16-bit Super Famicom.
Sitting in the dark is the
or
only way
Super
I
Nintendo,
can't
and
become
they had to learn
blind
it
and improve
quickly
my
in
listening.
order for the game to launch with the new console.
Okay, Daredevil.
The result was the best Super Mario game yet, and arguably
I lose my vision.
ever. It helped ensure
It'll
Nintendo
improve my
stayed
hearing.
competitive in a
Be able to
new,
hear the
more
heartbeats of the
powerful era
civilians
video
of my
games.
town and save some lives.
This is the story of Super Mario World.
Did you watch The Boys? There was a Daredevil type, The Boys superhero that had a total of 10 seconds on screen.
It's about time for the Famicom to start dropping off. I think people are getting tired of it. Hiroshi Yamauchi.
In the summer of 1988, Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi made a stunning declaration. The Famicom era was coming to an end. Nintendo's
Not the
Family Computer
Famicom.
Console, or Famicom for short, was first released in Japan in July of 1983. By 1988, Nintendo had sold 12 million systems and untold millions of games, giving them a 90% share of the Japanese video game market. But Yamauchi had reason to be concerned. Sales of the Famicom had peaked in 1986 and were slowly dropping. In an exclusive interview with Japanese magazine
I'm pretty
Touch,
upset that there's gonna be no
Yamauchi
physical releases for the
expressed
PlayStation though.
disappointment in the Famicom's recent sales
They're
numbers
really
and
saying
admitted
fuck
that the
you.
next generation of consoles had arrived. There was new competition in the video game market.
Like you
In
like
October of 1987,
You like physical
NEC,
copies?
a massive electronics
Too bad.
corporation, threw its hat in the ring with the PC Engine console. NEC boasted about the technological superiority of its system and planned to release a CD-ROM attachment in the future. The PC Engine appealed to teenagers and young adults. In just 2 months, NEC shipped more than 500,000 consoles. Nintendo was also keeping tabs on Sega. Sega was planning to launch their new console, the Mega Drive, in October of
oh
1988.
damn.
Sega
Hey, yo,
boasted
gang.
their new
It's
system
not that
would be
deep.
capable
Wait, hold
of
on.
more than just playing video games. It would have a modem,
Hey, yeah,
a
I watched
printer, and
I
more.
watched The Boys.
The Mega Drive was also the first 16-bit video game console.
That deep?
Sega proudly slapped a
Does anything I ever say
16-bit
sound
label
deep?
on their system.
Besides the deep
All
from The
of a sudden,
Boys. Like, do I sound like the
Nintendo's
deep from The
8-bit
Boys? Is that what you're
Famicom
trying to
seemed
say? That's
underpowered
crazy.
and outdated.
I can't believe you would say,
But
hey, he sounds like
Yamauchi
the
had a
deep.
surprise.
I'm
In
just
the
fucking
interview
around.
with Touch magazine,
I
he
knew what you were
announced
talking
that
about.
Nintendo was shifting focus to their next generation console, the 16-bit Super Famicom. Yamauchi had been teasing the system since 1987, not coincidentally, a month before NEC released the PC Engine. Now, in 1988, Yamauchi was ready to reveal more details, not coincidentally, a month before Sega released the Mega Drive. The news was more than an announcement. It was a warning for potential buyers. Don't waste your money. Nintendo's latest console will be available soon. The Super Famicom was much more powerful than its predecessor. It had
Okay.
a custom 16-bit CPU,
This one I'm just going
more
to
memory,
try
a custom
to
Sony sound chip,
fix some
more
of
than
these
32,000
dark
colors
spots a
to
little
choose
bit.
from, a higher max resolution, stereo
So I'm gonna
sound,
get some
and
more, like,
But
this looks
Yamauchi
pretty
believed looking at only the
contrasting
technical
with
aspects of a console
where
was
the
naive.
other,
The strength of
shadows
a video
lie.
game system was in the
I'm
software.
gonna keep that
And
like
the Super
that.
Famicom, he boasted, would allow
then I have to
developers to
do
make
that to
games
a
they'd
few
never
of them.
thought possible. Yamauchi revealed that Nintendo was currently prototyping several games themselves, and one of them was Super Mario Bros. 4. It was a surprising
keep-
announcement, mainly because
This side's lighter,
Nintendo hadn't
so I'm gonna
even
keep it
released Super
looking
Mario Bros.
kind of
3.
lighter. I don't wanna
Over the past
shade in
summer,
too much.
Mario creator Shigeru
Some of this is all
Miyamoto
messed up,
and his
but
team within Nintendo's
fine
Entertainment
because I have
Analysis and
black over
Development
here.
Group were wrapping up Super Mario Bros. 3. Nintendo
Black
planned to release
fixes
the
all
game in
mistakes.
October of 1988. Miyamoto considered Super Mario Bros. 3 the definitive Mario game on the Famicom, and the true sequel to the original Super Mario Bros. It was 10 times the size of the first game, with 8 massive worlds containing 90 levels and an array of new power-ups. Super Mario Bros. 3 also utilized a multi-memory controller chip on the cartridge that pushed the Famicom hardware to its limits. By the end of development, Miyamoto's team was exhausted. He believed they, quote, put everything they had into it. But there was no time to rest. The higher-ups at Nintendo gave the team a new directive. Make Super Mario Bros. 4 for the Super Famicom.
Damn.
Have it ready by launch. Making Super Mario Bros. 4 a launch
Like, you guys
title
aren't
was a
done.
no-brainer for Nintendo. Super Mario Bros. Was easily the most popular series on the Famicom and its international counterpart, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Making a new Super Mario game for Nintendo's new 16-bit console was a surefire way to sell hardware.
I forgot it wasn't called the Super
But with
Nintendo
new
in
hardware to
Japan.
learn and a tight deadline, the team needed more resources. So they grew in size, adding additional programmers, testers, and artists. They also brought back veterans. Of the 16-plus staff members assigned to Super Mario Bros. 4, 9 worked on Super Mario Bros. 3. Among them
Ooh.
was Toshihiko Nakago. Nakago was a
I lowered my
programmer
seat
from
so I
systems
could
research and
Not hurt my shoulders while I'm doing this. Because I realized that making this piece has been taking its toll on my back. But it's fine. All I need to do is just work out a little bit later. Kind of stuff Mappa does with its employees. Nah, you aren't free yet. I'm a free man, okay?
Development, or SRD, an independent development company with an office located
I'm a free
conveniently
man.
inside Nintendo's Kyoto headquarters. Nakago served as the director of programming for Super Mario Bros. 4.
I feel like
Koji Kondo, who had written music
the
for
gaming
the
industry
series
is kind
since
of
its inception,
interesting.
returned to compose the music and sound effects. Hideki Kono and Katsuya Eguchi were once again in charge of maps and stage design.
like
Then there were
they were able to shovel out so many games so fast back in the day, and now it literally takes years to develop a game. Like they're like, hey, we need $1 billion and we need 600 employees working around the clock. Okay, if we're gonna get God of War 3 out, this is what we need to do. And you're like, what? What? Why? We had a group of office workers, no more than 16 people working on this in the past. Yeah, that was the past. This is what we need now. $1 billion. And if our game doesn't sell $1 billion, we're gonna go out of business. You're like, fuck. That's like GTA nowadays. GTA needs to sell 1 billion copies. But you know who's not gonna buy GTA? Maybe I didn't buy GTA 5, and I don't know if I want to buy GTA 6 at all. I was like, should I hop on the train? Should I hop on the bandwagon of the GTA series? I'm thinking about it. I probably won't though. It's not really my cup of tea, like playing GTA. Plus, I have other things. I have other pressing matters to work on, like this. You see this? This is what needs to be finished. Not playing GTA 6. Not gonna lie, with the quality of games coming right now, it's kind of expected. The quality is crazy. That's the point. It's like, it's insane how good games look. But is it needed for a video game? Do games need to look like? I think I would prefer something more stylized. Like this is the next game I'm getting. Orbitals on the Switch 2. Here, this is the game I'm buying. Look how anime it is. I'm gonna play this with Dome. I'm gonna make her. I'm gonna force her to play this with me. I'm like, no, you're playing this with me whether you like it or
My name
not.
is Jacob, and I'm the game director of Orbitals.
Hi, my name is Marcos and I'm the creative director.
Today, we're going to be playing through some sections of the game and show you how the co-op works.
Let's go!
It's kind of like It Takes Two.
Orbitals has been designed from the ground up to be an asymmetrical co-op experience. You and your partner will be given unique tools each, and then you have to combine them in order to succeed.
On this, their first mission, Maki and Omura have chosen different tools. Maki is carrying the scrap hook and Omura the beam cannon.
So here, I need to use the beam cannon in order to keep this drone charged, otherwise it will explode. Right, wait there. I need to clear the path. Here we go. Nice.
And she is powered up.
Okay, whenever you're ready. Hold on. Other side. And we're going. Oh my god.
Yes, oh my god.
I know they had actual gameplay for it yet, but this looks crazy.
Fight. Ah! I did.
Okay.
7.
It's like they made a 3D anime game.
9, and let's keep it.
I cannot say
Oh my
9.
god,
Yeah.
13.
No, missed
14.
it. 14.
Okay, there we go. And we're starting.
I didn't get what they were doing right there.
We've filled orbitals with varied gameplay. Every single scenario is unique. Let's take a look at this one, which requires both of us to steer a hoverboard through the core of an asteroid. Let's go.
Hey, push.
Okay, left.
Hi. Oh my god, too much left.
Too much. Let's, okay, left.
Alright. Nice. Oh.
Okay.
Middle. No, stop running around. Stop running around.
Which way?
Left.
Oh, they died.
Doing good. Right. Oh my god, you stressed me out.
Oh my god, you stressing me out.
Right. Let's do it.
Come right then.
Go right then. You see how these guys are having a lot of fun? Look at it, we're having so much fun. Buy this game. Otherwise, we'll be
Every
broke.
aspect of the game has been designed to promote communication between the players. This section plays with gravity, and more importantly, trust. Okay, let's go. For real.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then one more. Nice.
Okay, going.
I think this comes out in September though.
Catch me. I mean, we did it. We did it. That counts.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the difficult one.
Okay, hold on. Let me struggle.
Okay,
Sorry.
She didn't like the other co-op game really. I think it had too much going on. I forgot what it was called. It was kind of like It Takes Two, but it wasn't. Let me look up It Takes Two. Split Fiction, there it goes. We played a little bit of Split Fiction. Like it's kind of a similar co-op type of game where you do stuff like this, run around together in a different type of universe. I think they make books. Oh, we didn't get past this one. Literally, the sun's core level hot. This game right here, Orbitals. I'm telling you.
Wait.
Wait.
Yep.
Oh my.
We can keep.
No. I mean, I have a huge pile.
Okay, let's go down. I'm gonna go down.
These guys, I don't want to watch the gameplay. I just want to watch the trailer. Look how cool the trailer is. And the music too.
ルズ2人協力プレイのスペースアドベンチャー
イエイ
任天堂スイッチ2から出るよ。
イエイお楽
楽
しみに
Nintendo Orbitals. Dinner. What was I watching? Top 10 funniest. No, we were watching our putty.
Shigeru Miyamoto. By 1988, Miyamoto was Nintendo's rockstar developer and chief software producer. And with the Super Famicom in development, his responsibilities increased.
All right, what are you working
dramatically.
on?
Along with
You
consulting
got an art
on
project
Super
you're working on right now?
Famicom's console
That's
and
what I
controller
heard you say.
design, Miyamoto had to work on 3 other upcoming games. So out of necessity, Miyamoto took a step back in his role as producer for Super Mario Bros. 4. He later recalled, "Basically, I stood by and watched closely, interjecting various ideas of my own here and there." And finally, Takashi Tezuka, an unsung hero of the Super Mario series, was put in charge of the Super Mario Bros. 4 project. Tezuka first joined Nintendo in 1984 as a designer, making instruction manuals and playing cards. But occasionally, artists got teamed up with game designers to work on projects. And one day, Tezuka got paired up with Shigeru Miyamoto. The two formed a powerful partnership. Together, they designed and developed the first Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and more.
Wow.
During the development of Super Mario Bros. 3, Tezuka may have taken on too much work. Along with director duties, he also created character art and visuals for the game. Tezuka later admitted development didn't come together well. As a result, Nintendo delayed the release of Super Mario Bros. 3 by 6 months. Tezuka would not make the same mistake again. "I didn't think it was good to take on too much," he said. As the director of Super Mario Bros. 4, Tezuka focused on managing his staff and helping with the game's overall design. He delegated visuals to a new member of the team, Shigefumi Hino. Hino was a relative newcomer to Nintendo. It was only his second year at the company, and he had only worked on one other game, a sequel to Famicom Grand Prix F1 Race, and it never got released.
It's too bad.
Now, Hino was assigned to arguably Nintendo's most important project. He felt a ton of pressure, saying, "Super Mario Bros. 3 was really well made, so it was intimidating to know it would be compared to that. For that reason, I worried a lot over how we could present Super Mario in a fresh way." But luckily, the Super Mario
The guy who
Bros.
was
4
making
team
Super Mario
had a much
World's
more
like, I'm
powerful
afraid to
console
make a
to work
game
with, the
that's
Super
gonna be
Famicom.
as good.
They were excited to try all the
Comes
new
out with
bells and
fucking
whistles.
Super Mario World.
Head programmer Toshihiko Nakago was relieved he and his programmers no longer had to worry so much about hardware limitations. And Miyamoto thought it would be easier to create visuals with the new vast array of colors. The team also got some upgraded development tools.
64
Up to that
colors.
point, Mario levels were created by hand on graph paper, then transferred into a computer by programmers.
That's actually crazy.
Now the designers had software that allowed them to edit levels directly on the computer. Of course, there would be a learning curve with new tools and new hardware, so the Mario 4 team started with an experiment.
We ported Mario 3 to the Super Famicom as a hardware experiment, and even though the colors and sprites were more detailed, it was still the same game. It made me realize that we couldn't just make the same game again. We had to create something new.
You know the
So it
casino
was in that
drawing I
context
sent
that we
you
talked
on
about
Discord?
how to
I'm
make the most
finishing
use
it
of the new hardware.
Add a personal flair.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Oh yeah.
By now, Nintendo had solidified
Get your
the
flair
Super
up.
Mario Bros. Formula. Mario games were about athleticism, running fast, jumping high, dodging obstacles, and stomping enemies. They were about friendliness to new players. Anyone could pick up a Mario game, figure it out, and have fun. And finally, Super Mario Bros. Was about freedom. If players wanted to blaze through a level without collecting a single coin, they could do it. If players wanted to take their time, use power-ups, and explore levels, they could do that too. People could play Super Mario Bros.
It's a good
however
formula.
they
Why'd that
wanted.
happen right there? Why did it just
Tezuka
get
and
so big?
Miyamoto believe
That's
this
my
new
entire
Mario
flow.
game should not change what made the series so special. Instead, Nintendo could perfect the concepts, add fun new elements to the game, and show off the latest technologies in the Super Famicom. It would give players the most complete Super Mario experience yet. Meanwhile, on November 21st, 1988, Nintendo revealed a prototype of the Super Famicom at their Kyoto headquarters. Representatives from more than 200 companies, including TV press, magazines, and newspaper reporters, were on hand to see the unveiling. Nintendo announced they would ship the Super Famicom by July of 1989, an extremely ambitious deadline. Nintendo also showed some early game demos, but notably absent was Super Mario Bros. 4. The development team was still trying to solidify the game. Along the way, they made constant changes.
That's what that meant.
Early on, the Super Mario Bros. 3 influence was apparent.
Need more time.
The graphical style, including Mario's sprite, was very similar. Many enemies looked identical to their Super Mario Bros. 3 counterparts, and the Koopaling bosses still occupied the castles. They also brought back familiar power-ups, like the raccoon suit for flying, and the world maps looked strikingly similar, albeit much larger.
The raccoon
It
suits
may
in
have
Mario
looked
World?
too similar. Co-workers frequently commented, "It doesn't look all that different from the Famicom games." Tezuka took the criticism to heart and made some changes. Shigefumi Hino gave the sprites more detail. At one point, the team even experimented with a three-dimensional look, but they didn't stop there. Map director Hideki Kono also changed the world map considerably, clearly departing from the Mario 3 style. In addition to graphical upgrades, the Super Mario Bros. 4 team had to figure out how to show off the new features of the Super Famicom. The 16-bit console could do all sorts of neat tricks, like background scaling and rotation, and transparency effects. And as a launch title, Nintendo wanted Super Mario Bros. 4 to show off the new hardware. But Miyamoto was hesitant to throw in new things just for the sake of it. He said, "Just because we found something cool the hardware could do, something that made us go, whoa. If it ruined the balance or flow of the game, we didn't want to include it." The development team thoughtfully added new elements. Large sprites emphasized the Super in Super Famicom. Transparency effects in the water and on enemies immersed the player into the game.
That's pretty
Scrolling
cool.
backgrounds gave levels a sense of depth. Rotating platforms gave Mario new, challenging
Why does
boss
he look so
fights.
weird?
In addition to the technological upgrades, the Super Mario Bros. 4 team also honed in on the core game design. Luckily, they had a wealth of player feedback at their disposal. On October 23, 1988, after 2.5 years in development, Super Mario Bros. 3 finally hit Japanese store shelves. The game received rave reviews and was the best-selling Famicom game for months. But Super Mario Bros. 3 wasn't the most friendly to new players. Miyamoto wanted to find a better balance with Super Mario Bros. 4. As a launch title, the game needed to appeal to players of all skill levels. So the team implemented a few features to make the game a bit easier.
Some checkpoints.
They added checkpoints to levels that made Mario big if he was small. In addition, the team added an item reserve box. In the previous game, Mario could stockpile power-ups and use them before entering levels. Now, Mario could bring extra power-ups into the level. If he got hit, or if players pressed select, the item would drop down automatically. By the summer of 1989, Super Mario Bros. 4 was starting to separate itself from the previous games, and the development team took it a step further by giving the game a new title. With a whole new world for Mario to explore, there could be no better name: Super Mario World. But everything changed when, not surprisingly, Nintendo decided to delay the release of the Super Famicom. There were
I'm not
a
gonna use this
multitude of
color, I don't
reasons.
think.
The Super Famicom hardware was, for the most part, ready to go. But there was a distinct lack of software. Nintendo was still working on launch titles. And although 21 companies had signed on to become third-party developers for the system, none of them had development kits yet. There was also a global chip shortage. A new generation of semiconductor and chip technology caused manufacturers to split their production capacity.
Just like
That
today,
drove
wow,
prices
there's a
up
global
considerably.
chip shortage.
Yamauchi hoped to keep the Super Famicom at a price point of around 20,000 yen, or around $150. However, with the chip shortage, the cost of the Super Famicom could shoot up beyond 30,000 yen, or around $225. And with the chip shortage,
I mean,
Nintendo maxed
what's
out its
$225 back in the day,
manufacturing
though?
capacity. At that time, Nintendo produced 3 million Famicoms and Nintendo Entertainment Systems per month. They were also dealing with stock shortages of their new handheld system, the Game Boy. Nintendo planned to launch the Game Boy in North America later that year. The stock shortages led one columnist to comment, "Why launch a competing product when you cannot cope with what you already have?" There was also still life left in the 8-bit Famicom. Super Mario Bros. 3 was a huge success, and NX's upcoming Dragon Quest IV was guaranteed to fly off store shelves. It was so popular that NX planned to release the game on the weekend to prevent kids from skipping school to buy it. Yamauchi's early teasing of the Super Famicom seemed to have worked. In a Famitsu magazine survey, many readers claimed they would rather wait for the Super Famicom than buy a PC Engine. Although NEC's PC Engine was selling well, it was still nowhere near the reach of the Famicom, which was now in 1/3 of Japanese households. And Sega's 16-bit Mega Drive failed to make much of an impact. They had only sold 400,000 units up to that point. With the threat of competition dying down, there was simply no need to rush the Super Famicom's launch. So on July 28, 1989, Nintendo held a press conference at their Kyoto headquarters and announced they were delaying the Super Famicom for an entire year. But while the delay made headlines, there was more to share. Nintendo unveiled a new design of the Super Famicom, and for the first time, they previewed their most anticipated game, Super Mario World. But surprisingly, the reaction was mixed. While many publications were impressed by the technological advancements, they felt somewhat disappointed in the gameplay and graphics. Famitsu magazine commented that it looks to be the same as the previous Mario games.
Like, you'll
And
rue the
Electronic
day.
Gaming Monthly, a US publication getting early scoops on games from Japan, stated Super Mario World was not as graphically impressive as Nintendo's other upcoming games. But this would not deter Takashi Tezuka, Shigeru Miyamoto, and the rest of the Super Mario World team. The delay of the Super Famicom turned out to be a blessing in disguise. With another year of development at their disposal, there was plenty more to add that would turn Super Mario World into one of the greatest platformers of all time.
One of the greatest platformers of all time. It really is, to be honest. There's some nice music in this video. I'm enjoying the gaming historian.
With the Super Famicom delayed until the fall of 1990, the Super Mario World team had an extra year to work on the game. For Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka, it was a chance to refine the game's balance. How could the development team ensure both newcomers and veterans got the most out of Super Mario? And how could they give these players more freedom to play the game in their own way? The team often met late into the night, discussing potential ideas. But one idea unearthed a wealth of possibilities.
I think great video games are like favorite playgrounds, places you become attached to and go back to again and again. Wouldn't it be great to have a whole drawer full of playgrounds right at your fingertips? Shigeru Miyamoto.
Miyamoto and Tezuka found their playground with the world map. Nintendo first introduced a world map to the Super Mario series with Super Mario Bros. 3. It allowed players to choose what levels they wanted to play to reach the end. However, it was still a fairly linear experience to get to Bowser and save the princess. The development team initially carried this concept over to Super Mario World, but besides some updated visuals, it was functionally the same. But what if the world map was more than just a map? Miyamoto said, "We were thinking that players should be able to play with the map itself." So the map got a complete overhaul. Mario had a whole new world to explore, Dinosaur Land, and players were free to explore Dinosaur Land how they wished. Rather than having 8 separate worlds, Dinosaur Land was one massive area with interconnecting regions. Players could backtrack and replay levels, or explore new areas of the map. The development team filled the map with secret levels and hidden paths. This gave players new ways to experience the game. For example, players could find a secret passage to Bowser's castle quickly, or take their time and play through all the levels in order. And beating Bowser was no longer the end of the game. There were 96 exits players could find throughout Dinosaur Land's 74 levels. Sometimes Mario found a secret pipe that led to a new exit. Other times, a key opened up a new pathway on the map. Players might find an area that they previously thought was unreachable. The development team provided clues to help the player find these secret exits. For example, levels that flashed red had multiple exits. Visual clues like a notch on the cliffside or a pipe off the beaten path might mean a nearby secret. And thanks to a save battery on the cartridge, players could take their time to find all the exits. A number on the main menu let players know their progress. But the changes to the world map were not just about levels and secrets. They also brought balance to the game. For many games, developers would add an easy mode or hard mode to the main menu to change the difficulty. But Miyamoto was not a fan of this design choice. Instead, he wanted players to adjust the difficulty as they played. So the director of programming, Toshihiko Nakago, came up with an idea: dotted line blocks. The idea started from a simple addition. The team wanted to try new block types and levels. From there, it evolved into much more. Throughout levels, players came across various colored dotted lines. When the player found the corresponding switch palace on the map, the blocks activated. It made levels easier by providing a new platform for Mario to jump on, or providing power-ups. If players wanted to make the game harder, they could ignore the switch palaces. Dinosaur Land now resembled a board game. There were 9 unique areas to explore, like Forest of Illusion, Twin Bridges, and Star World. And many regions were named after food, like Donut Plains, Vanilla Dome, and Chocolate Island. With a new map and unique regions for Mario to explore, character designer Shigefumi Hino saw an opportunity to update many of the game's visuals. Mario got a makeover with back pockets on his overalls, an emblem on his hat, and improved shadows. Miyamoto specifically requested Mario have white in his eyes. Hino complied with the request, but left Mario with tiny black eyes when he was small. He thought it gave Mario more character. Hino also added small details.
Yeah, it does.
Mario flashed a peace sign when he finished a level. When Mario lost a life, a look of horror swept over his face. But Hino didn't stop with Mario. Many classic enemies, including Goombas, Lakitus, and Drybones, got a new look. Koopa Troopas changed significantly. Previously, Koopa Troopas acted like turtles, slowly moving around levels. Now, Koopa Troopas walked upright. Mario could bounce them out of their shell, revealing a vulnerable little reptile in its underwear. Some would even try to recover their shells or kick them at Mario. Along with classic enemies, Hino and Tezuka came up with new ones. Among them was Wiggler, a volatile caterpillar, Chargin' Chuck, a football-playing Koopa that took 3 hits to take down, and Rip Van Fish, a sleepy fish who excitedly chased Mario when he woke up. And what was Dinosaur Land without a few dinosaurs? There was Rex, who required 2 stomps to take down, Dino Rhino, a large nearsighted enemy who turned into a dino torch if you stomped on him, Reznor, a fire-breathing triceratops that guarded several fortresses, and Blarg, a massive dinosaur who lurked beneath the lava, waiting for Mario to pass by. But not every dinosaur was an enemy. In fact, one new friend would forever change the Super Mario series. For the past 5 years, Shigeru Miyamoto had a sketch of Mario riding a dinosaur taped up at his desk. He had wanted to implement the idea since the first Super Mario Bros. Game. The team tried to add it to Super Mario Bros. 3, but technical limitations prevented them. But with the more powerful 16-bit Super Famicom, there was hope. Tezuka noticed the sketch again and decided to give it a shot. He took the idea to character designer
this is Yoshi's origin.
and asked him to draw a dinosaur that Mario could ride like a horse.
He's like, what dinosaur is this?
Hino's first idea came out looking like a crocodile. Tezuka made some suggestions.
Make him
The
look cute.
dinosaur should be smaller, cuter, and related to the Koopa Troopas. Hino made modifications, and, over time, the character's final form took shape. A green dinosaur with a shell on its back that doubled as a saddle.
Oh yeah.
Tezuka recalled that, quote, he turned into quite the cute character. As a placeholder, they named the character Yoshi, a nickname of Mie Yoshimura, an artist on staff. But the name stuck. Writing Yoshi was a fun new way to explore levels because he offered more than just transportation. Yoshi could eat enemies or grab hard-to-reach items, help Mario jump extra high, and traverse rough terrain. Yoshi could also gain new powers. For example, with the different colored Koopa shells, Yoshi could breathe fire, temporarily fly, or stomp the ground. In addition, he could eat berries scattered around levels to earn more time, power-ups, and coins. Yoshi also provided Mario with a free hit. When an enemy hit Mario, Yoshi would run away, but the player had an opportunity to get Yoshi back. The team also added adorable baby Yoshis in various colors. Mario could feed the Yoshi's enemies to make them grow up, and each colored Yoshi had specific traits when they gobbled up Koopa shells. Essentially, Yoshi was a new, robust power-up for Mario to use on his journey.
Yeah, essentially he's a
The
power-up.
development team brought back old power-ups as well. There were the usuals, the Super Mushroom to make Mario big, a Fire Flower that let Mario shoot fireballs, and a Superstar that granted temporary invincibility. The development team initially brought back the Super Leaf, which turned Mario into a raccoon and allowed him to fly temporarily. But with all the other changes happening, they thought they could do better. So they experimented with a few ideas, such as wings, before finally settling on a
The
cape.
cape. Yeah.
The cape, acquired by picking up a feather, worked similarly to the raccoon suit. Players could hit enemies with it and, after a brief runoff, could temporarily fly. But it offered so much more. Players had more control mid-flight, and by rocking back and forth, they could stay in the air much longer.
Yeah, this is
Mario
kind of, it
could
was kind of a
also
little
attack
difficult to
enemies
figure out.
from
You're like, how the
above.
hell do you stay
It
in
was
the
the most
air?
intricate power-up in the series thus far.
The
The development team constantly tinkered with the cape controls. Many test players found it too difficult at first.
You see?
And thanks to the extra buttons available on the Super Famicom controller, Mario also had a new move, the spin jump. By pressing the A button, Mario could destroy blocks from above, bounce off obstacles, and stomp enemies. The development team even utilized the shoulder L and R buttons on the new controller. It allowed the player to scroll the screen forward or backward slightly. In previous Super Mario games, certain levels required players to take a blind leap of faith. Now, players could scout out what was ahead before making a decision. Super Mario World was finally coming into its own. The development team overhauled almost everything. A new world, new enemies, new friends, new minigames.
Yeah, imagine
and
if they
new
would have forced them
power-ups.
to release it
And to
on
complement
time.
everything were the brilliant compositions and sound effects from composer Koji Kondo.
Release the game now.
Since the beginning, Kondo had worked on the Super Mario Bros. Series, composing the memorable original theme.
The
While
hair of
working on Super
Kashimo,
Mario
that's
Bros.
fucking
3,
awesome. Oh,
he
I gotta
composed
check it
a
out. I wasn't
plethora
looking.
of new music with a distinct reggae vibe and a ton of percussion. But after completing the project, Kondo thought he may have composed too much music. As a result, he felt like each song made less of an impact.
Too much
Kondo's
music.
favorite songs were ones with beautiful melodies. He felt they left a more profound impression on people. So, with Super Mario World, he wanted to focus on one melody and incorporate it into multiple songs. But due to the new hardware, he found the work, quote, 100 times more difficult. Kondo had to make all the sound samples himself and learn new software tools. But he quickly realized the Super Famicom allowed him to do so much more with the music. The 8-bit Famicom only had 5 audio channels and was limited to
Mario music
electronic
is
sounds.
iconic. I fucking love
But
it
the
so
Super
much.
Famicom had 8 dedicated sound channels and supported samples and sound effects from all kinds of instruments. As a result, Kondo got to completely rethink what game music could be. Kondo used a variety of instruments for both the music and sound effects. It resulted in a rich, warm sound unlike anything players had ever heard before in a Super Mario game. Players heard Kondo's catchy melody throughout the game. The above-ground music made the melody sound bright and fun.
If I could learn how to make music like this, I
In
think I would.
contrast, the Fortress music gave the melody a sinister,
I want to make
mysterious vibe.
Mario, Super Mario 3D World, not Super Mario 3D World. Yeah, Super Mario 3D World too. And Super Mario World music.
Kondo added a few subtle musical cues too. When Mario found Yoshi, a new percussion track kicked in over top the music. Kondo even added a reverb effect to the sounds while Mario was underground, adding to the level's atmosphere. And with the additional memory in the Super Famicom, Kondo was able to compose a title song for the game, a first for the Super Mario series. By the summer of 1990, 2 years after development started, Super Mario World was mostly complete. Tezuka and his team felt they had taken the concepts that made the series so special: freedom, athleticism, friendliness, and perfected them. It was a massive, side-scrolling 2D platformer. Nintendo packed everything into a 4 megabit cartridge, an impressive feat considering all the new graphics and sound. On the game's packaging, Nintendo added Super Mario Bros. 4 as a subtitle, reminding players that this was a continuation of the beloved series from the Famicom. Super Mario World was the quintessential launch title. It showcased the hardware's new technologies, while at the same time, providing fans of the series comfort and familiarity. In many ways, it embodied the Super Famicom. The primary colors of the console, red, green, blue, and yellow, were found throughout the game. In Koopa shells, Yoshi's, and even on the game's box art.
Red, blue, green, and
Hino,
yellow.
who had been nervous
The hair
even to
of
start
Kashimo,
development,
I sent it to you.
felt that they had perfected the genre. I felt like with Super Mario World, we had done everything we could with a side-scrolling jumping game, he said. With development finished, all
What
that was
character-
left
is
was
this
for
from-
Nintendo
is this a
to
JJK
release the
character?
Super Famicom. Ever since Nintendo announced the delay of the system a year earlier,
That looks
the
dope,
company
though.
had been mostly silent. But on June 21st, 1990, they finally had an update. The Super Famicom was coming out on November 21st, 1990. On August 28th and 29th, Nintendo held a Shoshinkai trade show at the Harumi International Exhibition Center in Tokyo. There were now 33 developers making games for the Super Famicom. Many of the companies were at the show to demonstrate their upcoming games.
Oh, you
But
got some more
all
line
eyes
details
were
to
on
it?
Nintendo. For the first time, they premiered the final version of the Super Famicom. The system would cost 25,000 yen, or around $170,
Nice.
and come with 2
I
controllers.
did layering of his
To
hair
keep
with a
the
pen
price down,
of a darker shade
Nintendo
of blue.
didn't include
Yeah,
any
I could tell.
cables or power adapters.
I saw. It's a
Nintendo
nice blue you
also
got.
premiered their 2 launch titles.
Like,
The
that's
first
a
was F-Zero,
fantastic
an
looking blue.
ultra-fast arcade racing game.
Almost like a
It
neon.
showcased one of the Super Famicom's new technologies, Mode 7, which gave a faux 3D effect. The second game was Super Mario World. Nintendo set up 10 Super Famicom stations at the trade show so attendees could try out the new games. 8 of them were dedicated to Super Mario World. People packed the booth for the entire show. The media was impressed by all the latest changes to the game. Electronic Gaming Monthly called it the premier piece of software shipping with the Super Famicom. The hype for Super Mario World and the Super Famicom was bigger than ever. Nintendo received 1.5 million pre-orders for their new console from wholesalers.
Damn.
With so many pre-orders, Nintendo worried that launch day might be a little chaotic. So they encouraged retailers to implement a reservation system when selling the Super Famicom. One store had so many reservation requests, they held a lottery and sent out postcards to the winners. 2 years after announcing the system, Nintendo was finally ready to enter the next generation, and for the first time, they were launching a new console with real competition in the market. In the early morning of November 20th, Nintendo loaded 100 trucks with boxes of Super Famicom consoles, along with F-Zero and Super Mario World cartridges. In an event dubbed Operation Midnight Shipping, Nintendo sent out their newest console and games in the dead of night, hoping to ward off thieves. And on the morning of November 21st, 1990, the Super Famicom and Super Mario World were officially on store shelves in Japan. Launch day was a mixed bag. The Haku Hinkan Toy Park store, which didn't take reservations, had a massive line outside the entrance. The store sold Super Famicoms on a first-come, first-served basis. As a result, many customers left without a console. But other stores, like the Odakyu department store, were relatively calm. The store issued reservation tickets 6 weeks ahead of time, anticipating that kids would play hooky to get the system. The store sold 1,500 Super Famicoms on launch day. But the biggest issue was the lack of stock. Although Nintendo had 1.5 million pre-orders, they could only ship 300,000 consoles. Many smaller stores, particularly mom-and-pop shops, didn't receive any consoles. Some stores took advantage of the shortage by offering the Super Famicom bundled with software at a marked-up price. Retailers accused Nintendo of stalling production to create a false shortage and drive up demand. Nintendo responded by promising to increase their manufacturing capacity in 1991. Despite the issues, the Super Famicom was a hit. According to a report from Nintendo, the initial stock of 300,000 consoles sold out in just 3 days. And Super Mario World was the crown jewel of the system.
I wonder if gaming's ever gonna get back to. I mean, I guess it is kind of like this, where people still like
frustrating, rewarding, and most
buy
important of
as
all,
many
unbelievably
copies as they
addictive.
can, but like
I'm still nursing an injured finger from a weekend solid, and I mean
it doesn't
solid,
seem like
play.
it's.
If you've got a Super Famicom, this is as essential as the power supply.
Like gaming doesn't seem
Julian
as
Jazz Rignall,
big of a spectacle.
Mean Machines.
Super Mario World received rave reviews from the press.
At least in mainstream.
Famitsu magazine gave the game a score of 34 out of 40. They wrote, "The Mario series repeatedly powers up, and this may surprise some players, but I felt a lot of power in this entry.
34 out of
It feels
30?
like it
Out
has
of
3
40?
times the ideas, without impacting any of the fundamentals that make Mario games so much fun." But even with all the praise, some reviewers came away slightly disappointed. They expected more from Nintendo's new 16-bit console.
Oh, fuck
One
off.
reviewer considered the game a bit stale compared to Super Mario Bros. 3. Others found the extra controls challenging to learn. None of that stopped customers from scooping up Super Mario World.
This doesn't make sense. I don't know how to play the game.
Owning a Super Famicom.
That's what that sounds
By
like to me.
February
Those
of
people.
1991, Nintendo had sold 750,000 copies of Super Mario World, despite only selling 600,000 Super Famicom consoles. Super Mario Mania, once again, swept over Japan. A new wave of Super Mario merchandise, including plushies and toys, hit store shelves. Bandai released Super Mario World, Mario and Yoshi's Adventure Land, an interactive anime compatible with Bandai's Terabiko toy phone. There were cross-promotions with food and beverage companies, including McDonald's. There were mangas based on the game, such as the Super Mario-kun series. Nintendo and Warner Pioneer released the game's soundtrack on CD, featuring new jazz arrangements of Koji Kondo's music. Konami even released a gambling machine, Mario Roulette, based on the minigame.
They wouldn't do that
Super
nowadays.
Mario
No gambling for Nintendo.
The Super Famicom and Super Mario World were a success.
No!
Nintendo hit its goal
Mario
of
would
selling
not
3 million consoles
gamble
within a year
ever.
by August of 1991, 3 months ahead of time. And in total, Nintendo would sell 3.5 million copies of Super Mario World in Japan, making it the second best-selling game on the Super Famicom. By 1992, the Super Famicom overtook NEC's PC Engine in sales,
Super
cementing
Famicom.
Nintendo as the top dog in the Japanese video game.
Because he dies afterwards. Mythical
But
Beast
when it came
Amber
time to
is
bring the
its
Super
name.
Famicom
Okay, I
and
fucking made
Super
his
Mario
hair
World
damn
over to
good.
North America,
Konami?
things wouldn't be so easy.
I feel like I don't know. I read it all disjointed. I wasn't paying attention to the chat. But I'm guessing the JJK character dies. Don't ruin JJK for me. I'm only caught up to where the anime's
in
at.
November of 1988, sales of the 8-bit Famicom
I know a
were
lot of people
declining,
die, to be honest.
but its North American counterpart,
It's
the
that type of show.
Nintendo Entertainment System, was setting sales records. In 1988, Nintendo of America sold 7 million NES consoles and more than 40 million games. For the second year in a row, the NES was the #1 toy in the United States. The country had Nintendo fever.
If you haven't heard about the Nintendo Entertainment System, odds are you've either just awakened from a 2-year sleep or you don't have a child under the age of 14. Nintendo is simply the toy of the late 80s, a marketing phenomenon.
It's a
every
system,
bit
it's not
as
a toy.
remarkable as the Cabbage Patch Kids craze a
Stupid.
few years back. Dennis Lynch, Chicago Tribune.
Oh, Hideo
1989
Kojima
looked
from
to be
Guilty,
another
from
banner
Guilty
year
Gear,
for
from
Nintendo
Metal Gear
of
Solid.
America. But just like in Japan, there would be new contenders in the market. At the 1989 Summer Consumer Electronics Show in Chicago, Sega introduced the Genesis, the North American version of the Mega Drive. NEC brought the PC Engine over as the TurboGrafx 16. And the hot buzzword of the show was bits. To the general public, more bits meant better video games. The TurboGrafx 16 was technically an 8-bit console, but sported dual 16-bit graphics chips, and NEC marketed the console as a 16-bit system. Sega boasted that the Genesis was the only true 16-bit system, and promised arcade-quality graphics,
Only
stereo
Sonic
sound,
can move this
and
fast.
unsurpassed gameplay. With NEC and Sega bringing in more powerful consoles, it begged the question, where was Nintendo's 16-bit system? Officially, Nintendo said it had no plans to launch a 16-bit console in North America.
He's like, fuck all that jazz.
During their presentation at the summer CES show, Nintendo played a video hosted by a costumed Mario that showcased the NES and Game Boy. Mario tried to convince the audience that 16-bit consoles were not the future of video games, and that the NES was plenty powerful. The press called it propaganda. But while Nintendo of America feigned disinterest in 16 bits, video game magazines were picking up news on the Super Famicom from Japan. Video game magazines had seen a resurgence in the past year thanks to a booming video
Just a
game
broader view of the
industry.
castle.
Nintendo even had a magazine, Nintendo Power,
Here's my
with
castle.
an estimated 1.2
We took
million
off the color.
subscribers. Nintendo carefully chose what to cover and what
So
to
I'm
keep up
going
its sleeve,
to...
and it wanted to keep the Super Famicom up its sleeve. But other magazines didn't have those restrictions, and regularly looked to Japan for the latest video game news and rumors.
Thank
There
you,
was
good
Game
sir!
Pass, video games,
Oh,
and
it's taking
computer
forever.
entertainment, and game players. But by far, the
Oh
magazine
my
with the
God.
most coverage of Japan was Electronic Gaming Monthly, or EGM.
I think
In
I'm
their
gonna
very
have to
first
add more
issue
blacks.
from May of 1989, the magazine revealed
In
the
certain
Super
spots,
Famicom,
to where I
calling
can't.
it the most incredible game system ever seen. In their second
Get too
issue,
detailed.
EGM had full-color photos of the Super Famicom prototype, along with the first mention of a new
I'll
Super
finish
Mario
this spot.
game, Super Mario Bros.
I'm
4.
moving on.
It couldn't have made Nintendo happy. Super Mario Bros. 2 hadn't even been out for a year in North America. and Nintendo was spending 1989 hyping up Super Mario Bros. 3, due to come out in early 1990. By the fall of 1989, Nintendo of America could no longer deny that a 16-bit machine was in the works. Vice President of Marketing Peter Main confirmed the Super Famicom was real and coming to Japan. But he stopped short of announcing a North American release. Instead, Main affirmed that the company wanted to wring every last megabyte of power from the Nintendo Entertainment System before jumping into the 16-bit generation. In other words, any announcement of a new 16-bit system would cut into Nintendo of America's sales.
Yeah, like, let's
But
profit off of this fucking system in America.
The Super Famicom and
Before
Super
you say we have a
Mario
new one
Bros.
coming
4.
out.
Electronic Gaming Monthly repeatedly brought over the latest news from Japan. In issue 4, they confirmed Super Mario Bros. 4 was now called Super Mario World and showed the game's first screenshots. Despite the whisperings of a 16-bit console, Nintendo of America had another record year in 1989. They sold an astonishing 9 million NES consoles. For the third year in a row, the NES was the #1 selling toy.
It made the
In addition, Nintendo's new Game Boy handheld, introduced in August of 1989, sold around 1 million units in less than 6 months. And despite
the Game
new
Boy was
competition,
iconic.
Nintendo still controlled about 80% of the $4 billion video game market. And 1990 looked like another big year. Nintendo of America was preparing to launch their highly anticipated new game, Super Mario Bros. 3. The company spent the past year hyping up the game with teasers and early releases on the PlayChoice 10 arcade cabinet. The game was even in a Hollywood film, The Wizard. In January of 1990, Nintendo Power had an article about the making of Super Mario Bros. 3, featuring a write-up on Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto. The article briefly mentioned that Miyamoto was working on games for the Super Famicom, including Super Mario Bros. 4. But that wasn't all. In the mailbag section, a reader noted he read about the Super Famicom in other magazines and wondered why Nintendo Power had not talked about it more. The magazine replied that the Super Famicom wasn't even out in Japan.
They were ordered
They
not to
only
talk
wanted
about
to
it.
provide information that was, quote, timely and accurate. Nintendo Power now had a subscriber base of almost 2 million.
Don't talk
This
about
was
it.
their first
We were told
acknowledgement of the Super
not to talk
Famicom
about
and
the
Super Mario World.
fucking
With
thing.
the hype of Super Mario Bros. 3 dying
Okay.
down, a new hype emerged
Woo!
for
Almost done
Nintendo's
with
next
this section.
console and Super Mario game. And those other magazines kept the hype train moving. Rumors swirled about what the Super Famicom would look like in North America and when exactly it was coming. One rumor
What's my thoughts on USA surviving Belgium? Not gonna lie with you, I forget how time progresses. I mean, honestly though, sometimes time just flies by. Time's just a social construct anyway. Night and day, what is it? Huh? I'm just kidding. There's hours in a day, there's minutes. Every second counts. I'm gonna be AFK. A bit going somewhere for a few minutes. I'm guessing AFK is an acronym for away from computer with a K. A crazy way of spelling computer. I need to grab some more coffee too.
suggested that the Super Famicom was actually a more powerful 32-bit system. Another report claimed that Nintendo planned to call the new system SFX in North America. There was even gossip that the Super Famicom would come
Away
to
from
North
keyboard.
America
I was close.
as an attachment to the NES. By the fall of 1990, it seemed like Nintendo was tired of the rumors and speculation. In September, Nintendo Power published a blurb on the unveiling of the Super Famicom in Japan, along with screenshots of Super Mario World. They also took a jab at other publications, asking readers to stick with Nintendo Power for, quote, hard facts and not wimpy rumors. But Electronic Gaming Monthly also covered the unveiling of the Super Famicom in Japan, and much more extensively. Their November issue had a multi-page preview of the console, Super Mario World, and other upcoming games. Still, with all the previews, rumors, and speculation, no one outside of Nintendo knew when the Super Famicom and Super Mario World were coming stateside.
This is when leaks weren't like
But
apparent.
1990 proved to be a defining year for Nintendo of America.
Now things just
The
get
company
leaked.
had another record-breaking year with $3.4 billion in sales. Nintendo now controlled 87% of the video game market. Super Mario Bros. 3 was a colossal hit, selling 7.5 million copies and grossing more than $400 million. At the time, it was the best-selling standalone video game ever. Nintendo also sold 3.2 million Game Boys, along with 9 million games. But despite all the accolades, Nintendo also saw problems. The Nintendo Entertainment System was saturating the market. 1 in 4 households owned an NES, and in homes with children aged 10 to 14, almost 100% owned an NES. For the first time in North America, NES sales declined, down to 7.2 million units, and the company's projections for 1991 were even lower.
We've done too
Nintendo
well.
estimated they would only sell 4.5 million NES systems. There was also the threat of competitors, particularly Sega. Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi once stated that Sega was not a legitimate contender in the US market. But that had changed. By the end of 1990, Sega
Sonic.
had sold around 1.5 million Genesis consoles and had an 80% share of the 16-bit market. The company expected to sell even more consoles in 1991. The public was ready for the next generation. According to Sega, 60% of Genesis owners were Nintendo fans who traded up. A Rand Youth poll revealed that one of the most requested items on a teenage boy's wish list was a new video game system, despite 90% of the participants already owning a system.
The venerable NES is finally showing its age. Compared with its competition, the NES offers inferior sound and fuzzy graphics. In Japan, buyers are being treated to Nintendo's Super Famicom, an awesome new game machine, but no plans have been made for the US debut of this system. Come on, Nintendo. How about equal rights for American buyers? Dennis Lynch, Chicago Tribune.
Nintendo of America saw the writing on the wall. It was time to enter the 16-bit generation. In January of 1991, less than 2 months after the Super Famicom hit stores in Japan, Nintendo of America officially confirmed that the Super Famicom was coming to North America. At the 1991 Winter Consumer Electronics Show, attendees waited in line for 20 minutes to see a demonstration of the system. Nintendo showed previews of a few games, including Pilot Wings and F-Zero. But the biggest hit was Super Mario World. One reporter said it looked like, quote, the best Mario game yet. Nintendo of America's Peter Main predicted the Super Famicom would go on sale in the United States by the second half of 1991. Nintendo wanted to have more software available before launching. To entice developers and compete with Sega, Nintendo removed their exclusivity agreement. The Super Famicom would have a new design and, eventually, a new name in North America: the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Nintendo predicted it would sell 2 million consoles by the end of 1991. But selling the 16-bit system would be much more challenging in the United States than in Japan. In Japan, the economy was booming. Nintendo was selling Super Famicoms faster than they could make them, and this was despite a shrinking consumer base. Since the mid-1970s, Japan's birth rate had declined, and the average family had 1.5 children. The result?
I'm thinking maybe I'm going
explained,
to add light
fewer
coming
children
from
are surrounded by
the
more rich
windows, so I
adults,
don't have to
and that means that the money spent on each child
add
increases.
too many
But in the United
details to
States,
it.
the situation was much different. The country was in the tail end of a recession. War in the Middle East more than doubled oil prices. The failure of many savings and loan institutions hit the lending market hard. More than 1.8 million people were added to unemployment. Because of this, consumers were spending less and saving money wherever possible. So when Nintendo announced a $200 video game system that was not compatible with NES games, many parents were outraged. In the United States, the average family spent $225 on toys per child. Almost all of it would have to go to the Super Nintendo. When a reporter asked a mother of 3 if she was going to buy a Super Nintendo for her kids, she exclaimed, "No way. We're not shoving the old Nintendo in the closet. I've got $700 invested in that baby." A father from California called it immoral. The press jumped on the controversy, claiming the Super Nintendo would make the Nintendo Entertainment System obsolete.
It's immoral.
Nintendo had to do
How
some
dare they
serious
ask me to buy
damage control.
another
They argued
system?
that adding backward compatibility
Are you
would make
kidding
the
me?
Super Nintendo even more expensive. They also insisted they were not abandoning the Nintendo Entertainment System. The NES, they claimed, was an entry-level system for people not wanting the latest graphics, sound, or challenge. It was a cassette tape, and the Super Nintendo was a CD, a console for the veteran player who had gotten their full enjoyment out of the NES. But it wasn't just the Super Nintendo.
Thank you.
Parents blamed Nintendo for their
It's just
child's
such a
lower
slow
score
process.
grades
I'm gonna
and
have
eye
to-
strain, and claimed the games were too violent. Nintendo
I
was
don't
also
move my hand
accused of
faster.
monopolizing the industry.
I should be
The company had
moving
been
like the
hit with
Flash.
multiple antitrust lawsuits. And for the past year, the FTC had investigated Nintendo over antitrust violations such as
I guess I would be pissed off if I got PlayStation 5. Spent $500 on a PlayStation 5, and then it's just like, yeah, it's not. We're gonna make a new system. Like, fuck you. Fuck this bullshit, man. When did the PlayStation 5 come out anyway? In 2020, so it's been 6 years. You know, they're talking about PS6 already. So its original launch retail price was $499, and now it's gone up in price. Let's see, what between 2027 and 2029. Give me 9 years with the PS5 at least. I don't even think I'm gonna buy a PS6 if I'm being completely honest. A whole digital system. I'm like, yeah, fuck that.
price fixing. Nintendo denied any wrongdoing, but settled the case and agreed to send out up to $25 million worth of rebates to customers. The rebate took the form of a $5 coupon that consumers could only use to buy more Nintendo games.
Hilarious.
But industry insiders were skeptical that people would ditch Nintendo completely. As one writer put it, Nintendo may have a tough time, but kids still tend to get what they want. That was true. Some kids couldn't wait and had already imported the Super Famicom from Japan. Plus, Nintendo had arguably the biggest weapon of all, Super Mario.
They're like, we're good.
Super Mario Bros. 3's success catapulted Mario into another stratosphere. According to his Q-score, a measurement of popularity among brands and celebrities, Mario was now more popular among children than Mickey Mouse. There were more than 300 licensed Mario products in the United States, worth $200 million in annual sales. There was a Saturday morning cartoon, a breakfast cereal, and even a planned feature film, with rumors that Danny DeVito would play the leading role. If anything could help convince consumers to pick up a new console, it was a Super Mario game. Back in 1986, when Nintendo launched the NES nationwide, they released a version bundled with Super Mario Bros. It played a significant role in driving sales. It seemed like a no-brainer to do it again for the Super Nintendo. On June 1st, 1991, Nintendo officially unveiled the newly designed Super Nintendo Entertainment System at the summer CES show in Chicago.
The big guy in the home video game market has finally caught up with the pack. you're looking at Nintendo's much-awaited 16-bit home system, the Super NES.
All right.
It's a big step forward for Nintendo.
This is what I'm gonna do in about. I'm gonna do as much as this part as I can. I'm gonna go grab some coffee. No, I'm gonna grab some coffee first. I'm gonna do as much as this section as I can, because this one needs a lot of work. This whole piece right here. That. Like, I'm not... Upwards needs a lot of work. But this little midsection right above what I just finished, I'm gonna do that in depth. And then I think I want to play a little Mario now. I might get a little... I put the Switch on. But BRB. I lowered my chair too, so I feel like I'm almost sitting on the ground. Because I didn't want to hunch over while I'm making my Osaka castle. But BRB. Oh. Yeah, it looks like I'm sitting on the floor. I can see my lap back here. This floor's right there. The floor is right there. How tall am I? I am 5'10". Right there. I'm that tall. Okay, right there. Parks on the wall. Let me stop. I wonder if I can do it on this tool. Is it that tall? It's that tall, right there. That tall. You're just 6 feet at 18. Yeah, you're that tall right there. You're right there. I'm basically, Put some shoes on. 6 foot. Why you say just 6 feet at 18? Like you're not done growing. You're not getting any taller. Just so you know. It's a wrap. Okay? That's it.
And much more sophisticated
You're done.
play.
This is positioned for the true heavy user who wants that next level of play experience. Not for everybody.
I'm still
Nintendo set
growing.
up multiple Super Nintendo stations at their booth, where attendees could try out Mario's latest adventure and other upcoming titles. The system was scheduled to launch on September 9th, 1991, and come bundled with the latest Mario game, Super Mario World. But while Nintendo touted the Super Nintendo in Super Mario World, their competitor, Sega, had an ace up their sleeve: Sonic the Hedgehog. Sega came up with the character to compete against the Super Mario juggernaut. The company first announced their speedy new video game back at the Winter CES show and was ready to launch the game to retail
I thought that would happen.
Sonic the Hedgehog received high praise from the press.
I used to be
Video
just like you.
Games and Computer Entertainment declared, at
Waiting for my second
Sega
growth spurt.
has their own Mario. And Sega had one more surprise in store.
Yo, like once I hit that
The
second
Sega
growth spurt,
Genesis was
I'm
getting
gonna join the
a price
NBA.
cut down to $150.
I'm gonna be playing basketball.
And would come
Just haven't hit it
bundled
yet.
with Sonic the Hedgehog. The company knew the battle between Sonic and Mario would be critical in the 16-bit market, and Sega was not going to play around. They now controlled 90% of the 16-bit market and had a 2-year head start on Nintendo. Sega president Tom Kalinske shrugged off the Super Nintendo, claiming Nintendo would have to play catch-up with Sega. While Nintendo hoped to have around 18 games by Christmas, Sega would have more than 100. And for the second half of 1991, Sega had a $15 million advertising budget. After Sega
fell off
announced
so
their
hard,
new
it's kinda
Sonic
crazy.
the Hedgehog console bundle, sales surged. For the first time, Nintendo of America had legitimate competition in the video game market.
Like I think I kind of want to play some
hoped
Sega
Super
too, or I
Mario
kind of want to play some
could
Sonic.
save the day.
It's like, where's your loyalty lie? Is it with Mario and Nintendo, or is it with Sonic and Sega? Decide now. Can I just be a fan of both?
On Wednesday, August 21st, 1991, a Toys R Us store in Cerritos, California opened a shipment box from Nintendo. Inside was their new 16-bit console, the Super Nintendo. The system arrived almost 3 weeks ahead of time. Over the next few days, stores around the country started receiving shipments. Soon, the word got out. The Super Nintendo was here. The Super Nintendo launched with F-Zero, Pilot Wings, and the bundled game, Super Mario World. Praise for Mario's latest adventure poured in from magazines, newspapers, and school players.
You can't launch with Mario
Electronic
and
Gaming Monthly
F-Zero
gave the game a score of
and not
36
expect
out of 40, calling it
an amazing
easily the
release
best Mario
date?
adventure yet. In video games and computer
Yeah,
entertainment,
Dodo's at
called it
work.
by far the
She
best installment in the Mario saga.
Is holding it down
Some critics
while I go
expected
to
more
school.
from Super Mario.
I'm on summer break right now, though.
Entertainment Weekly claimed Nintendo
Until-
was beating a dead Koopa
Until
and
Wednesday.
that Mario was doing, quote, all the things he's been doing for the past 5 years. But it didn't seem to
That's
bother
why I have to,
anyone
I have to
else who
complete
played
Osaka
Super
Castle
Mario
before
World.
Wednesday.
It was Mario at his finest. Nintendo backed the Super
Can I do it?
Nintendo launch
Let's
with a
find
massive
out.
$25 million advertising blitz. The September 1991 issue of Nintendo Power made its way to 2 million mailboxes across the country, with Super Mario World featured on the cover. Inside was a 16-page guide featuring maps, items, enemies, tips,
Meh.
and more.
You'll do it easily in that time.
Nintendo invaded televisions as
You
well.
think I can complete
There were
all of this before
commercials with a
Wednesday?
jazzy new slogan. Now you're playing with power. Super power.
You put your faith in
And
me, young one.
NBC aired a new Super
I
Mario
cannot
World
let you
cartoon
down.
on Saturday mornings. Super Mario World and the Super Nintendo even made their way
But
into
I will
grocery
not be a
stores.
liar.
There were cross
Someone who
promotions
does
with
not
Pepsi,
complete what he has
Kool-Aid,
said
Shasta
will be
Soda,
done.
and Kraft Mac and Cheese. Nintendo also released Mario Mania, a 150-plus page guide all about Nintendo's hero, including a Super Mario World strategy guide. By
On the
October,
eve of the
Nintendo
morrow.
sold more than 500,000 Super Nintendo consoles and was on track to sell 2 million by the end of the year. But the demand for the Super Nintendo was not as high as it was in Japan. Some stores sold out quickly. A manager at Electronics Boutique in Greenville, South Carolina commented, "If we got 50 in tomorrow, we'd have 50 sold." But in other areas, the Super Nintendo was easy to find. One reporter in Detroit called 8 local Toys R Us stores, and all 8 had the system in stock. Nintendo could blame
I will not
Sega
let
for
you
the
down,
lack
young
of
one.
Super Nintendo craze. The Genesis was cheaper,
But
had
after
more
me there
games,
comes a
and offered
generation of
backward
artists.
compatibility with Master
Those
System
who
games
hope to
via
complete
an
more
adapter.
Osaka
And
castles.
Sega was more than willing to pit Sonic against
Just like
Mario.
this one.
Their commercials featured the games side by side. The message was simple. Mario is old and slow. Sonic is fast and cool. Sega also
That's
launched
true, that was
the
the
Sega
that was
World
the message.
Tour, traveling
Mario,
to shopping
old.
malls around the country to let
Sonic,
people try
young,
Sonic the
fast.
Hedgehog in Super Mario World. According to Sega, 88% of the participants preferred Sonic.
House-to-house fighting continues unabated. War drums beat along the shores of Lake Michigan and bugles blare west of the Rockies. The martial music of the Silicon Samurais harks from the east. The question is no longer if there will be a video game war, but rather who will win it.
Nintendo.
Arnie Katz. Video games and computer entertainment.
The
Sorry,
launch of the
spoiler
Super
alert.
Nintendo and Super Mario World officially signaled the beginning of one of the greatest battles in video game history. The console
Really?
wars.
One of the greatest battles?
Sega and Nintendo duked it out for control of the 1991 holiday season. In the end, both companies claimed victory. Nintendo claimed it sold 2.1 million Super Nintendo units.
console
Sega
wars.
disputed the figure,
yeah.
claiming it was closer to 1.4
It's like saying
million.
Goku and Vegeta, who's better?
Meanwhile, Sega
Greatest
claimed
battle?
it sold every system it
Huh.
could make in 1991, 1.6 million units.
Well, Goku's
Nintendo
obviously better
argued
than
it was
Vegeta.
closer to 1 million units.
I know there's Vegeta
Nintendo
fans out
knew
there,
they
but
were in
Goku's
for
better.
a long war. So in January, they slashed the price of the Super Nintendo to $180. By the summer,
What's the best
Nintendo
battle
cut the
though of
price
all time?
again
Let's see.
to $150. That same year, Nintendo expanded their 16-bit
In Dragon Ball
territory
Z,
by launching the Super
the
Nintendo
best
in
battle
Australia
is-
and Europe, bundled with Super Mario World.
Ooh,
the
hold
game
on.
once again
Dragon Ball Z greatest battle. I gotta do like separate anime because there's different great battles that are like just top tier. Does it come from Goku versus Broly or Vegeta versus not Vegeta? Gogeta versus Broly in the newest movie was pretty fire. Not gonna lie. But let's see. Naruto versus Sasuke. That is a great battle. Did I like any other fights in Naruto more than Naruto versus Sasuke? Rock Lee versus Gaara. That's it. Rock Lee versus Gaara, best fight. Let's see, what else? What else was there? Drunken Rock Lee versus Kimimaru. Fantastic fight. I was the biggest Rock Lee fan until they hoed his character in Shippuden. They're like, oh yeah, Rock Lee. Forget about him. He's done, okay? This story is not about Rock Lee or any of these other characters. It's about Naruto and Sasuke, and don't you forget about it. Goku versus Frieza might be the best fight in Dragon Ball Z. And I kind of want to say Gohan versus Cell, but like Gohan sold the shit out of like that being an easy dub. Oh, I'm cocky. I'm a kid, and I'm a Super Saiyan 2. Fantastic fight though, but Gohan just sold that shit so hard. What else? In One Piece, who was the best fight in One Piece? Miriam versus Old Man. Miriam versus Netero. Hunter x Hunter, actually, I have some of the best fight. That's up there. That's top 5. We both know ball. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some One Piece fights, but like the latest one is just Kaido versus Luffy. Like that one, it was cool, but I think it was like kind of overhyped, and like I think the filler and like the battle just went on way too long, unfortunately, and it kind of watered down the hype of the fight. Whitebeard versus Rogers. They fought for they like lightly scrapped. That wasn't really like a battle. That was like a skirmish. You can't add a skirmish into a battle. Like they clashed. I'm pretty sure if I YouTube it, it's gonna say Whitebeard clashes with Roger. Whitebeard, Roger. Oh, I said clash. Watch. Okay, it says versus. Kuzan versus Akainu? Nah. I'll show you the cool right now. It's gonna be Kuzan or Akainu versus what's his name? Garp. That's it right there. He's like, get out of here. Yeah, I knew Japanese. He's like, get out of here, man. You can't handle this. Yeah, this was dope. Yeah, they're not touching. Zoro versus Mihawk. No, that wasn't a fight. That was Mihawk killing Zoro. What? I just had something on here, did I? Garp versus Aokiji. Now I have to. There's 2 parts. I better not get a copyright strike from this. I swear to God. It's on YouTube, but like I probably have to skip through it. Aokiji is so fucking cool. So is Whitebeard, not Whitebeard, so is Dart. Ice Spur! Like fuck.
愛弟子を救うためにかつての一番弟子を殺せんのか縛られるなバカめ
Don't live in the past.
今を生きろと教えたはずだ
バカ Get down. Not gonna lie, he really uses ice fruit in a really good way. But if I had it, I'd be using it in a better way, not gonna lie. Oh yeah? If I had the ice fruit, I'm gonna live a life like the chick from Frozen. Alright guys, got my ice castle. Don't slip. If you slip, I'm gonna kill you, okay? If you slip, it's on you, it's not on me. Don't try to sue me later. And then I might open up a cafe. Hey guys, ice lattes. I got ice lattes here. I got ice lattes, guys. And then I might have like snow cones. Hey guys, got snow cones, different flavors. Grab any flavor you want, 25 cents a pop. Freeze every damn water vapor in the air. Just kill them. I don't think you could do that, okay? Alright? He doesn't have no blood. He doesn't have the extending version of the bloodbending power. Like, Katara had to wait until it was raining to even manipulate the rain. But maybe, because there's different... Katara was weak. Like, maybe he just doesn't have an awakened devil fruit then, right? Like, he would need an awakened devil fruit. And then he could be like... just freeze everything. But he just froze. He froze Garp in the scene right before this, and Garp was like, I'm not dead. Garp's like, I am good. I can breathe cold air. He did it. And then Garp's like, fuck that. Let me see the punch. Oh. Uh-oh. You see? You saw that had no effect on Garp? He's like, fuck that. Like, he just yells blue hole, and you're like, that's a strong move right there. Put Garp in Tekken. That would be fire, actually. I want to see the punch. Where's the punch? They don't show the punch? They hit the Omega Dap. It's hilarious that they even called it the Omega Dap. Let me see if I can get the frame. Missed it. The dap. Like the most replayed section. Fuck. Boom. Give me some, brother. Punching to the right in the dome. Okay, let me not get copyright with all this. With all this anime. They do not play with anime if you're showing it on like YouTube. Like every single time I make a review of an anime season that I've watched, I try to include some scenes from it, and they're like, "Hold on, is that Deku from My Hero Academia that I see up on your YouTube channel? Take it down, or else." And you're like, "Fuck, okay, you know, I don't want my YouTube channel to be taken down, so I will comply." Toei Animation was smoking shit. They were smoking shit.
Received glowing reviews.
Like
The fight
it's a
between
fact. They were
Sega
smoking
and
shit.
Nintendo would drag on for years. Both companies attempted to one-up each other with new and exciting games, hardware attachments, and peripherals. Children would argue on playgrounds and in classrooms, and declare their allegiance to Sega or Nintendo. For Nintendo, Super Mario World remained a key weapon in the console wars. It was bundled with the Super Nintendo for years. And Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi's declaration that the strength of a console was in the games rang true. The Super Nintendo's strong software library paid dividends. In the end, Nintendo would come out on top of the 16-bit console wars. Super Mario World was released during what many consider the best years of the franchise. In January of 1992, Nintendo Power reported that for each Nintendo system, the NES, Game Boy, and Super NES, the #1 game was a Super Mario game.
The #1 game is a Super Mario.
When the Super Nintendo first launched, Nintendo's vice president of marketing, Peter Main, commented that the system was evolutionary, not revolutionary. The same could be said about Super Mario World. Mario's 16-bit debut did not significantly change the Mario formula, and many reviewers took issue with that. But Super Mario World did perfect the formula. And today, Super Mario World is widely considered a masterpiece.
Oh my god, this is all looking awful over here.
Admitted
What is this?
with how the game turned out, but he felt that he was only
What is this
scratching
mediocrity
the
I put on the
surface of what
screen?
video games could become. In a 1995 interview, he said,
Okay, let me see if I can look up. Oh, I'm getting a little hungry too. Gotta make some brekkie. That's what I'm gonna do. I am going to switch this over. See if I can download. Okay, I only have GameCube on here. What you're still saying though is going to be my iPad. I'm going to play a little Mario, but I have to download Super Mario on the Switch. Do I have to? Can I just play it from here? I wonder. Let me see. Got the old Star Fox. God, download Super. It'll be going now. I have a solo soccer training I do late tonight. Alright, man. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'll catch you on the flip side. When you're back, when's the next time? So, right now, I would say I'm gonna play a little game. I'm gonna go through my day right now, actually, with you. I'm gonna make some breakfast. I'm gonna go work out. I have some YouTube videos I gotta record. I wanna make a movie review for Obsession and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I watched those and didn't release a YouTube video for it. So I'm gonna talk through my thoughts on those. And then I was thinking if I have time later on tonight, I wanted to get back on and play Star Fox. I have a new Star Fox game on here. Let's see. I might play Star Fox tonight if I finish making my YouTube videos and editing them. If I don't, then I'll be on tomorrow morning. Sound good? I just downloaded it, and I gotta wait. See ya. Have a good one. Let's play Super Mario World. Let me get this game up on here. I'm gonna play some of the classic actually. Okay, got my buttons down. Whoa. Nice. Wow. Oh. I'm not sure if this version has all of the secrets that the original version has, though. I just cheated. Let's see, I wonder if World 4-2 still has... Because I'm not really too sure. Speed run. Wow. You're like, but you just cheated in the game. Uh-oh, this part's kind of hard. Roll 8, let's go. Does it have my save data from the other Switch? That's crazy. When did I Super Mario Bros. 2? This one I did 2023? Huh. Okay, I guess I'm gonna overwrite that one. There's nothing there. I mean, it's only right here at the end. Ah, fuck. I thought I was gonna die. Fuck it. Hey, that's 2, what the fuck? I'm actually just gonna finish today. Not gonna complete this. Thank you for stopping by, Eris. Appreciate it. Anybody else who was on any of these chats? Thank you. And have a good one. Damn, I messed this up, didn't I?